When the Athenians returned home after the Battle of Salamis, they faced a terrible sight. Persian troops had destroyed their shining city. Few homes were left standing. The city walls were in ruins. Even the temples had been burned to the ground. Yet the Athenians felt far from ruined. After all, their navy had defeated the powerful Persians, and they felt sure that in a democracy where free men ruled, great things were always possible. So the proud Athenians began the task of rebuilding the city. They were determined to make it more glorious than ever. In the years following the Persian Wars, the Athenians filled their city with gleaming marble temples and finely sculpted works of art. Athens became a cultural center of Greece. It teemed with great playwrights and fine actors. Greeks' tragedies and comedies were performed in huge outdoor theaters. People also flocked to Athens to discuss exciting ideas and witness the city-state's lively democracy. The Athenians accomplished so much following the Persian War that this time is often called the Golden Age of Athens. The period also goes by another name, the Age of Pericles, the Age of Pericles. The age is named after a great statesman who led the Athenians for more than 30 years. His name is associated with the highest ideals and achievements in the ancient world. Pericles, the man who gave his name to an age. Pericles led Athens during one of the most innovative and creative periods in history. He came from two of the oldest and noblest families in Athens. His mother was a niece of the great lawgiver Plisthenes, who had given Athens its first democratic construction. Pericles had been educated by some of the leading philosophers of his day, yet despite his aristocratic background, his political sympathies lay with the demos, or the common people of Athens. He was determined to continue the reforms of his great uncle and serve his city-state by making it more democratic than ever. His belief that the people should rule themselves guided his career. A sober, serious man, Pericles had a long, pointed face that earned him the unflattering nickname Onion Head. His critics accused him of being cold and conceited. They said that he allied himself with people only to get power. To his admirers, however, Pericles was a brilliant man with a clear vision for the polis. He did not speak in public often, but when he did, the Athenians listened carefully. Almost every year from 461 BC until his death in 429 BC, they elected him to be one of their chief leaders. It was Pericles who inspired Athenians to rebuild their city after the devastating Persian Wars. Under his leadership, the Athenians continued to strengthen their navy. They built two long stone walls protecting the route between the cities and its harbor, Pyrenus, so that even in wartime, the city would be able to get food and supplies by sea. Pericles supported the work of Athenian writers, artists, architects, and thinkers. He wanted Athens to be a school for Greece, where people could create great works of art and search for truth. Perhaps most important, under Pericles, more and more men gained rights and had a chance to share in government. After their stunning victory against the Persians, the city's rowers won the rights they sought. Pericles went further to guarantee common people their rights. Before the time of Pericles, public officials were never paid for their work. This made it hard for people without much money to serve in office. But Pericles established salaries for civic positions so that not just the rich could serve. He worked to change the laws so that the common people were allowed to serve in any public office. Even under Pericles, democracy was not complete in Athens. For one thing, women and slaves could never become citizens, and thus weren't allowed to take part in the running of the polis. Still, in a time when many people in other lands were under the stern rule of a king or emperor, Athens stood out. Under the guidance of Pericles, Athens was the most advanced democracy the ancient world had known. Athenian democracy in action. How did democracy work in ancient Athens? Let's imagine an Athenian citizen, Simon, and spend some time with him. Simon isn't a wealthy man. He's a metal worker by trade with a small shop in Athens. He isn't the best metal worker in Athens, but he has enough work to make a decent living. Simon is proud of his work, and he's even prouder of his polis. Simon is a citizen of Athens, which means he's a free male, age 18 or over, and he was born to Athenian parents. He has served in the Athens armies, and, like all citizens, he serves in the assembly. The assembly meets about 40 times a year. The meetings are held outdoors and begin very early in the morning. All citizens, especially those living in the city itself, are expected to be there. Since Simon lives in the city, he can easily go to the meetings of the assembly. It's not so easy, however, for the citizens who live in the country. They may have to travel miles to get to the meetings, so they often miss them, and if they arrive late, they may not get in. The Athenian assembly has only 6,000 seats and closes when it is full. The assembly is a powerful branch of the Athenian government. Here, the people debate issues and make decisions. To be taken seriously at the assembly, one must be a good public speaker. A speaker who can sway the opinions of the assembly is a man to be reckoned with. Pericles, for example, commands much respect because he can state his views so eloquently. When a citizen addresses the assembly, Simon and his friends are a feisty audience. When they don't like the speaker, they boo and hiss. They laugh at anyone who makes mistakes in speaking. If a speaker is really bad, the assembly may even make him pay a fine. Who is he to waste their time? When the time comes to vote on an issue, Simon votes by raising his hand. A majority vote decides any question, and like all good Athenians, Simon obeys the decision of the majority. He obeys it even when he doesn't agree with it. At the assembly meetings, even though Simon is often loud and noisy, he takes the voting seriously, for he knows that it often decides the fate of Athens. Simon usually enjoys the assembly meetings. Politics is his favorite pastime. He talks about politics, he argues about politics, and sometimes he even fights about politics. The Council of Athens is another body in which Simon can serve. Members of the council are chosen by lot. Every year, the names of 500 citizens are drawn from a large pot, and these 500 serve on the council for a year. They carry on day-to-day business of Athens, decide what things will be discussed at the next assembly meeting, and write laws on which the assembly will vote. There are other ways in which Simon can serve Athens. The polis needs guards and market inspectors. It needs officials of all kinds. Someone must be in charge of the harbor, and someone must count the tax money. Someone must check the food supplies, and someone must run the warehouse. The officials who do these jobs are chosen from the assembly by lots, and they perform their duties for 1 year. It may seem strange that Athenians were willing to fill so many important jobs by drawing lots, but their lottery system gave every citizen an equal chance to serve Athens in nearly every part of the government. In that sense, it was a very democratic approach to running the city-state. It may also strike us as strange that people who serve in the assembly, council, and other roles did not need to have any experience. A street cleaner or barber may be chosen over a man with legal or scholarly knowledge, but this seemed perfectly reasonable to the Athenians. Pericles himself said that the simplest craftsman could understand the responsibilities of citizenship. The 10 generals.